This Jocks 94.5 podcast is brought to you by Millennium Satellite and Video. Log on to msbnow.com. TV excellence everywhere. That's Millennium. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning starts now.
Welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, 7:31, Tuesday, August 19th, right here on Jocks 94.5. Going to go to the Higginbotham hotline. Welcome in Rick Neuheisel, former college head coach, and now can hear him weekdays on Sirius XM. Coach, I heard some of the things you were saying about Jackson Arnold last week, and I wanted to have you on our show just to talk about it. Let's go to this question first. We have debated this. We've kicked this back and forth the entire offseason. When I watched Jackson Arnold last year, he had a problem letting go of the football. That's not something that we say about a lot of quarterbacks, but he just couldn't pull the trigger. How do you rewire that as a quarterback coach, offensive coordinator, somebody who's got all the ability, but mentally just couldn't let it go? And now you bring him into your system and you want to try to take the bad out and put the good back in. How is that done?
I think the way to do that, and good morning, it's good to be with you, Cole. I think the way to do that is to basically create the feet as a metronome. The feet tell you when to let go of the ball. And so the rhythm, and that's more difficult from the gun than it used to be from under center, but it's still doable. And I think Greg can certainly tell you when you hit that third step on timing throws, whether it's off the plant or requires a hitch, you have to be able to let the ball go based on what your eyes have told you about the defense, and you put the corresponding pass route against that particular look. But your feet tell you the ball has got to be delivered right now. Caleb Williams, the first pick in the draft for the Bears a couple years ago, in the preseason game, I think they beat Buffalo 38-0. All of a sudden looked like he was throwing with his feet. I mean, his footwork was perfect. The ball was coming out on time. Now, it's a preseason game and probably some pretty vanilla looks from Buffalo. You're not working on your disguise in preseason. But the bottom line is Caleb was using his feet, and we all go back to Caleb Williams as a college player and how much he used to love to extend plays. And Jackson Arnold was a little bit like that in that Oklahoma offense. And you can say it's because the offensive line wasn't great. They had a lot of injuries. You can say it was because they lost a lot of receivers, so he was not real comfortable with who was playing on the outside for him. But at the end of the day, the ball has to come out when your feet hit the mark. It's like dancing. 1, 2, 3, hit. 1, 2, 3, hit. 1, 2, 3, hit. And I think that's what Hugh Freeze and Jackson Arnold are working on. And I can't remember a coach needing a player to play well and a player needing a quarterback coach and coach to believe in him more than these two. These guys are going to go either to great things or down with the ship together.
Coach, we debated on the show last week, is Jackson Arnold the most important player in college football? And it's like what you just said, because it feels like there's so much on the line for both. Both have so much to prove right now, pressure on both. Not saying that, national championship if he plays well or 2 wins if he doesn't, but just it feels like when we talk about individuals that just need to be good, need to be great, need to figure it out, he might be the most important player in the country.
He's as important as any player in the country. That's an absolute fact. It's a big year for Hugh Freeze, a chance to prove that he is what they thought he was when he got there on the plains. It's a golden opportunity to jumpstart a career for Jackson Arnold. And Hugh believes in him. I talked to Hugh at the SEC Media Days. He absolutely believes in him and thinks that, what his eyes tell him is that this guy can be a special player. I know he's worked hard to put together a receiving crew at Auburn that is, unlike maybe anything in the past. These guys are all, really good players, and a chance to blow the top off the defensive secondary. This all has the makings of a really, really happy ending for both Jackson Arnold and Hugh Freeze, and fingers crossed for those who root for the Tigers that's exactly what takes place.
The reality is, though, Coach, it's great to have all this good
See,
work.
Greg, this is what I love about you. You always come in with the dose of reality.
Well, I try not to. This time of year, it's always glass half full. But since you guys are just, having a little bit of an Auburn parade, I might as well throw a little water on the fire
little
here.
Shade, just a little shade. Go ahead.
Subtle shade. Coach, here's my thing. Is that it's all well and good we can sing Kumbaya during the during the preseason. And I'm glad to hear that Hugh Freeze has faith in him. I think there's a lot of positives surrounding the situation. I'd be surprised if Jackson Arnold doesn't have a good year. The problem that I have is he's going to be playing against Dave Aranda week 1. He's going to have some guys walking around. He's had some gray area in coverage, and he might throw 2 picks. How do you get the quarterback out of the dumpster when he's back after an offseason, 8 months of building his confidence up? First game, real live bullets, he experiences real adversity, and he reverts right back to the guy he was once before. So how do you deal with that?
That is a fantastic question. And you, having played the position, know that you have to have amnesia. You have to be able to take the lesson learned from something that confused you, that caused you to throw into coverage and have a ball picked off or something, and go to the sideline, download what happened, but go out there with the same measure of confidence on the next drive that you had when you began the game, and as if you'd just thrown a touchdown pass. And therein lies, we don't know what sort of whiplash Jackson Arnold has from last year and the disappointment of his time at Oklahoma. We can put it on, failed offensive coordinators. We can put it on a, shoddy offensive line or lack of real talent at wide receiver. And we can all believe that everything's fine. But at the end of the day, the confidence level of Jackson Arnold is exactly what Hugh Freeze and Jackson Arnold are working on a daily basis. And to get over the hiccups, which invariably they happen. Even Joe Burrow in that magical year had a couple of picks, right? You have to be able to come back out, understand what just took place, put that in the memory banks, and then move on. One of the coverages that always bugged me as a quarterback, and I'm sure it bugged you, was soft cover 2, right? Where there's 2 safeties, but that corner backed up. Coach, that corner backed up as if he was in a third and then sat at that 11 or 12-yard mark, right? Which is why your eyes have to be on the DB, but not the receiver. You know where the receivers go, and the DB's got, and then you've got to be able to move through a deal, which again gets back to the feet and your eyes being ahead of your feet, meaning that if once the first choice is gone, your eyes are moving to number 2 before your feet go to number 2, so that if your eyes say number 2 in your progression is the guy you need to be throwing to, now your feet correspond and the ball comes out almost as if it was the first choice, but in accordance to how the pattern's laid out. And this is where Hugh Freeze and Jackson Arnold have to be on the same page. But that confidence thing is something that they are working on from the moment they said hello to each other. I mean, these guys need each other like Sonny needed Cher. I guarantee it. That's what's being, this relationship is the cornerstone of Auburn's fortunes this year.
Coach, I'm going to give Greg credit. He said something on this show. We asked Hugh Freeze about it. We asked Jackson Arnold about it. Coach Freeze obviously is going to have a different answer because he's coaching the young man right now. But Greg laid out for us one day when we were discussing Jackson's issues last year, and it's in there. Go back to that bowl, the Alamo Bowl. He threw 3 picks in that game, but finished with like 380, and he just came back and kept firing.
That's right.
It's in there.
That's right.
And Greg laid out, like, y'all don't know what it's like to play quarterback for a defensive-minded coach. The message constantly is don't screw it up. Don't mess this up. Don't hurt our field position. Don't give the ball back. Don't hurt the team. Don't do this.
Excellent point.
And I started thinking about guys like you and Jeff Lebby and Lane Kiffin and Steve Sarkisian. Like, you think those guys are ever delivering any sort of message like that at all to a quarterback? The answer is obviously no. Do you, in your experience, ever have anything like that? A guy that came from somebody who was pounding in that don't, be careful, and you had to sort of you had to turn that around. You had to re-engineer that.
I didn't coach many transfer quarterbacks. That was not part of my career path. We had Troy Aikman, which was the first guy that I coached, who transferred from Oklahoma after breaking his leg. He turned out okay.
Yeah, great coach.
Okay. Good arm.
But Troy's confidence level, his, at Oklahoma, they didn't teach a lot of what was happening on the other ball. Everything was a progression read, meaning you throw it to this guy. If he's not open, you throw it to this guy. And they didn't teach much what was going on the defensive side. Once you start teaching defense like it's, you're playing poker and everybody's holding a hand and you've got to figure out what's in everybody's hand. And now you know what their cards are based on the tells. Then the confidence level goes through the roof. So that when Troy started realizing what was happening on the other side and how it corresponded to the call that we had made and where the ball should go, the confidence level went through the roof. So it's really a question of what Jackson Arnold was being taught, whether it was Seth Luttrell or whomever took over when Seth got let go at Oklahoma, what they were being taught and what now Hugh is teaching about where to go with the ball from a standpoint of through the progression, or is it a read-based deal? And his confidence level will go along with that. But at the end of the day, I can understand where you feel like this is kind of like almost, going to a shelter to get an animal, right? That's been abused. And now you want to make sure that this animal feels cared for.
Rick, last one before we get you out of here. Kind of looking on the other side of the coin, other side of the state. I know we've talked a lot about Auburn, but just your thoughts on Ty Simpson and the circumstances surrounding him now getting the job, second crack at the competition. This time he gets it done. What do you think is a fair expectation for what he might be capable of this year?
Well, this is another interesting question because I think there's a number of quarterback situations around the country, Greg, that they're going to coach around the quarterback a little bit early in the season until they kind of know what they have when the actual live action is happening. Listen, when you read what Kalen DeBoer said about Ty and his deserving this chance because of his loyalty to the program, that isn't him winning the job. That is him having been there long enough so he gets first chance. And to me, it's going to be Ty taking the reins and showing the coaching staff that I'm no longer just trying to do what you're coaching. I'm actually trying to win games. I remember vividly being in a quarterback competition with a guy by the name of Steve Bono, who played 15 years in the NFL, that I was just trying to do what Homer Smith was teaching and just keep doing it over and over again so that I show that I could do it better than the competition. Eventually, you get in the game and you realize, I got to do what's necessary to win a football game. I got to keep from throwing interceptions. I got to take what they give me and stay ahead of the chains. And every now and then when I see an opportunity, I got to take a shot and make a play. And when you actually go out there and do what we all did in high school, trying to get to this level and become that kind of winning player, that's when you take over a team. Right now, they're just trying to do what the play calls for, be as error-free as possible. That's just playing a play rather than the game. And that will be the whole card for Ty Simpson if he's going to be a great Alabama quarterback. He's got to learn. He's got to go in there and say, this is my job. I'm going to go win the game.
Coach, great stuff. Thank you so much for hopping on with us this morning. That's exactly what we wanted to hear, is just how some of these situations are handled and what you think they may look like this upcoming season. Hopefully we can do it again soon.
I look forward to it, boys. You guys are on top of it. And roll Tide and War Eagle. How about that?
We'll take that, Coach.
Well
At
done,
least
Coach.
the second half of that. So, yes, Thank you very much.
See you guys.
Rick Neuheisel.
I love he knows which one to prioritize.
Well, he leaves us with the one that's most important, though. That's the one that he goes out on. And so I think that's what leaves a lasting impression there. So we know exactly what
So
that
you're
means.
Suggesting first to worst, second to best.
I don't know if I've ever stated that in my life, but
Sounds
sure,
what
if
you're
that's what
trying
you
to
need,
say.
go for it.
That's what you're trying
in
to say.
alphabetical order.
I'm just trying to add
fair.
value on the
Fair.
show with what Coach told us, and I'll add a little bit more value right here on Jocks. I'll introduce you to our friend and wealth advisor, Tad Hill, your trusted retirement planning partner. He's the co-host of the Retire with Freedom radio and TV shows in Birmingham and Huntsville. Also designated by Forbes as the #1 financial securities professional in the state of Alabama, multiple years running. Tad, what do you have for us today?
Okay, today is a topic that we've discussed before, but it's a pretty constant issue, and that is market volatility.
And definitely the markets have been topsy-turvy for months in a row now. And if you're already retired or you're within 5 years of it, there's a thing called sequence of returns risk. And I can't go through all the math here. I can do that in our course or in a visit. But the bottom line is if you get poor returns early in your retirement, then you are at a much higher risk of running out of money. And our Retire with Freedom process is designed to help you build a plan to insulate you from that. We can help you. I would really encourage you to come to one of our courses or come in for a visit. And the way to do that is to text JOCKS at 205-988-0006. That's 205-988-0006. Text JOCKS, 205-988-0006.
This is a paid placement. Investment advisory services are made available through AE Wealth Management. For more information about Forbes rankings, visit Forbes.com.
Go inside Jocks 94.5 on Jocks TV. Morning Jocks, Mac and Cube, and three-man front video simulcasts are presented by Bill Smith Buick GMC and Game Day Men's Health. Watch on the Jocks mobile app and YouTube by searching Jocks 94.5 TV.